This is the part 3 video of chapter 7 for standard 8th science, metals and non-metals. If you haven't watched the first two parts, please click on the link in the description box below. Hey, this video was made just for you. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. In the previous video, we learned about the chemical properties of metals. So now let us learn about the chemical properties of non-metals. The first one, let's see the electronic configuration. Most of the non-metals have 4 to 7 electrons in their valence shell. If you remember, the electronic configuration of metals were usually between 1 to 3. But for non-metals, it is usually between 4 to 7 electrons in the valence shell. The valence shell is the outermost shell of the atom. Here are a few examples. So these are examples of non-metals. N is the short form for nitrogen and it has an atomic number of 7. That is, total number of electrons present in nitrogen are 7. So when we write the electronic configuration, we would get 2, 5. That is 2 electrons in the first shell and the remaining 5 electrons in the outermost shell. So here there are 5 electrons in the valence shell and therefore we can see that it is between 4 to 7. The next non-metal example is oxygen. Oxygen has total 8 electrons in its atom. So it will be 2, 6. Here 6 electrons are present in the outermost shell. The last example is chlorine. Chlorine is denoted by Cl. Chlorine has 17 electrons in its atom. So we would write it as 2, 8, 7. Because there are 2 electrons in the first shell, then 8 electrons in the second shell, and the remaining 7 electrons would go in the outermost or valence shell. So if you see in all these examples, the number of electrons in the valence shell is always between 4 to 7. Formation of ions. Non-metals have a tendency to accept electrons in their valence shell to form negatively charged ions called anions. So if you remember, for metals usually gave up their electrons. And therefore, because electrons were lost, the negative charge were lost and the ions became positively charged, that is cations. But in case of non-metals, they accept electrons from outside. So because they are accepting electrons, in other words, they will accept the negative charge of the electrons also. And it will become negatively charged completely. So the negatively charged ions are called anions. So here are a few examples of non-metals forming their respective anions. The first example is of chlorine. Chlorine has an electronic configuration of 2, 8 and 7. The last shell of chlorine, that is the valence shell, has just 7 electrons. And to form an octet, that is 8, it requires 1 electron. So it will acquire this 1 electron. Because it acquires just 1 electron, it will have just 1 negative sign. So this is the chlorine anion. And now after taking 1 electron, the electronic configuration becomes 2, 8, 8. The next example is oxygen. Oxygen has an electronic configuration of 2, 6. Now 6 is short of 2 electrons to become an octet. So the oxygen will acquire these 2 electrons from outside. And because it acquired 2 electrons, it will have 2 negative charges. And now the electronic configuration became 2, 8. The last example is of nitrogen. Nitrogen has an electronic configuration of 2, 5. 8 minus 5 gives 3. So nitrogen has 3 electrons that it needs to form a complete octet and also to complete its final shell. Once it completes its final shell, it will be more stable. Therefore, it takes this 3 electrons very easily and therefore we get nitrogen with 3 negative charges. And now the electronic configuration is 2, 8. Now let us see the reaction of non-metals with oxygen. Non-metals combine with oxygen to form their respective oxides. This was similar to the reaction of metals with oxygen. Here, non-metal plus oxygen is giving the non-metal oxide. Similarly, with the reaction with metals, metal plus oxygen gave that metal oxide. The oxides of nonmetals are acidic in nature, and this is where the oxides of nonmetals differ from the oxides of metals, because the oxide of metals were basic in nature, but here the oxides of nonmetals are acidic in nature. They react with bases to form soluble salt and water. So whenever an acid reacts with the base, it forms soluble salt and water. In the case of metal oxides, we had to react the metal oxides with acids to form salt and water, because those metal oxides were basic in nature. But here, since the oxides of non-metals are acidic, we react these acids with base to form salt and water. Here are a few examples. Carbon, which is a non-metal, on reaction with oxygen forms CO2, which is carbon dioxide. So this is the non-metal oxide. This same carbon dioxide on reaction with NaOH. This is sodium hydroxide, which is a base. So this acid plus this base would give us Na2CO3 plus H2O. So Na2CO3 is a salt and we get water along with it, which is H2O. The oxides of nonmetals react with water to form an acid. The oxides of nonmetals react with water to form an acid. So here are a few examples of oxides of different nonmetals, and on reaction with water, that is H2O, they give us different types of acids. So let us see these examples. The first example is CO2, which is carbon dioxide. This is an oxide of carbon. Carbon dioxide on reaction with water gave us H2CO3, which is carbonic acid. SO2 is the oxide of sulfur, and this on reaction with water gave us H2SO3, which is sulfurous acid. SO3, which is another oxide of sulfur itself, on reaction with water gave us H2SO4, which is sulfuric acid. So even though these are oxides of the same non-metal, they gave us different acids because they are different oxides. Non-metals do not react with dilute acids. So this is different when we compare it with metals. Because if you remember, when we had done the experiment of taking the hydrochloric acid in the test tube and adding zinc dust to it, we observed that a salt and hydrogen gas was produced. So there is a reaction that takes place between metals and acids. But this reaction does not take place with non-metals. Now let us study about something called as a noble metal. Some metals like gold, silver, platinum, palladium and rhodium are noble metals. So these are some examples of noble metals. So what are these? They occur in nature in the elemental state. So these noble metals are freely available in nature. Gold, which is 100% pure, is called 24 karat gold. You must have heard about gold being termed as carat gold. So what does this mean? It means that when the gold is 100% pure, that means when there is no other metal which is mixed with the gold, then it is termed as 24 karat gold. But this pure gold is soft. As a result, the ornaments made from pure gold bend or break due to pressure. The ornaments or the jewelry that are made from gold, you must have noticed, are very hard, and whatever shape like flowers or anything shape that the ornaments have, they stay as that only no matter how much pressure is put on it. Because this gold that is used to make ornaments is not 24 karat gold, because the 24 karat gold is soft and it easily bends. Therefore, goldsmiths mix it with certain proportion of copper or silver. So now they add other metals like copper or silver into this 24 karat gold, and that makes it less pure. Ornaments are made from 22 karat gold or gold which is still smaller carat value. So the maximum value of carat gold that a jewelry is made of is usually 22 karat gold, because this gold has copper and silver as the impurities in it, and this is what gives it the hard shape. Uses of noble metals. Gold, silver and platinum are used to prepare ornaments. Ornaments or jewelries are made usually from either gold or silver or platinum. Silver is used in medicines. It has antibacterial property. So, some medicines contain very less amount of silver, because when we take this silver as medicine, it has antibacterial property. So whatever bacterial infection that is present in our body, the silver kills the bacteria. Therefore, it is called as having antibacterial property. Gold and silver are also used to make medals. So Olympic gold medals, silver medals and bronze medals. So therefore, gold and silver are used to make medals. Gold and silver also used to make few electronic devices. So, since gold and silver are metals, they are good conductors of electricity. Therefore, they can be used to make electronic devices. Platinum and palladium metals are used as catalyst. So, when scientists are doing different experiments, they use something called as a catalyst. Catalyst basically speeds up the reaction, because some reactions take many days and months. So, in order to speed up their reaction, there is something as catalyst used. Different reactions have different catalyst. So, platinum and palladium metals can act as certain catalysts for certain types of reactions. Let us see about purity of gold. When we ask the rate of gold in a gold shop, it always differs, isn't it? Why is that? Gold is a noble metal in nature and it occurs in the elemental form. So whenever you must have gone to the gold shop, different gold shops give different prices, that is rate, for their gold that they sell. So why is all the shops selling different values of gold? It's because their purity differs in different shops. So 100% pure gold is 24 karat gold. So this 100% pure gold is the most expensive because it is pure gold. Pure gold is soft. Therefore, gold ornaments prepared by pure gold may break or bend due to pressure. So, because this pure gold is soft, it is very important to add copper or silver in it so that you can make it hard and easily you can make beautiful ornaments that retain its shape. Hence, goldsmiths add specific amount of copper or silver in the pure gold. To prepare ornaments of 22 karat gold is used. So usually for ornaments 22 karat gold is used because this is harder than 24 karat gold and it can easily be made into ornaments. So here is a table given just for reference. See, the 24 karat gold is 100% pure. That means it only contains gold in it and no other metals. But the 22 karat gold is 91.66% pure. It means that 91.66% in that metal or in that gold would be of gold and the rest around 9% would be of other metals like either copper or silver. Similarly, 18 karat gold is 75%, 14 karat gold is 58.33%, 12 karat gold is 50%, and 10 karat gold is 41.66%. Let us study now about corrosion. Gases in the air react with metals in the presence of moisture to form metal compounds. So, our air around us contains several gases and along with the gases it also contains very tiny water droplets. So, this is called as moisture. So, when all these gases and moisture react with metals, they get affected by it because a chemical reaction takes place between the gases, the moisture and the surface of the metal. The metals get affected by this process and undergo what is called as corrosion. So, you must have noticed the grills on your window. These are made of iron usually. And if you notice carefully, you will observe that it has become a little reddish in certain areas. So this red color is nothing but corrosion that has occurred on the iron surface. A reddish color deposit is formed on iron by reaction with oxygen gas. So this corrosion that we see on iron is because of the iron reacting with the oxygen gas present in our air. A greenish color deposit is formed on copper by reaction with carbon dioxide gas. Like similar to iron reacting with oxygen, copper reacts with carbon dioxide to form a greenish color deposit. Iron usually forms a reddish color deposit and copper forms a greenish colored deposit. Now a blackish color deposit is formed on silver by reaction with hydrogen sulfide gas. You must have observed silver jewelry and coins becoming black after a while. It's because of the silver reacting with hydrogen sulfide gas. To prevent corrosion of metals, layers of oil, grease, varnish, and paint are applied on them. Therefore, it is very important to keep painting the grills on our windows with oil, grease, and varnish, and also with paint. Also, plating with another non corroding metal is done. So, what is a non corroding metal? It is a metal that does not react with the air around us and does not get corroded. Therefore, if you cover a metal that gets corroded with a metal that does not get corroded, you can prevent the corrosion occurring on that metal because now it does not come in direct contact with the air or moisture in present around us. Iron is arrested by zinc plating. So in this, the iron metal is covered by a layer of zinc, and zinc will prevent the iron from getting corroded. Due to these processes, the contact of metal surface with air is lost and corrosion cannot occur as the chemical reaction cannot occur. So when the metal surface and the air does not be in contact with each other, no chemical reaction can occur and therefore corrosion can be prevented. What is an alloy? A homogeneous mixture of two or more metals or a homogeneous mixture of metal with non-metals is called an alloy. So a homogeneous mixture means it is completely mixed with each other and there are no layers present after mixing. So when you mix different types of metals, two or more, or when you mix metals and non-metals together, it will form something called as an alloy. Alloys are made by mixing the constituent elements in as per the requirement. So when you make an alloy, a specific alloy only has specific quantities of every metal. For example, the stainless steel utensils used at home are made of an alloy of iron with carbon, chromium and nickel. So all the vessels in our kitchen, especially the stainless steel ones, these are alloys. There is no element in our periodic table called as stainless steel. This metal is produced by mixing metals together. So, stainless steel is made by mixing iron with carbon, chromium and nickel. So, certain quantity of iron, carbon, chromium and nickel are mixed together to form stainless steel. The alloy bronze is formed from copper and tin. So, in order to make bronze, you have to mix copper and tin together. For the answers to this exercise and other free worksheets, please go to jkacademypro.com.